Hey guys, at the end of the video, do me a favor and check out my Discord and also check out my Facebook group. I have links down in the description. And if you could do me a favor, consider taking a look at Patreon and give me some assistance, help me to get better recording equipment. I need a new computer. I tried to start streaming. However, my little laptop's just not quite powerful enough. It lags out. I'm working on some temporary fixes, but any assistance you guys could give me would be greatly appreciated. Help my dream to make this this channel and build this community into something more. I'm getting a lot of great feedback from you guys, and especially us older players who don't quite fit in with the younger players, but also have like not lots of knowledge to impart to the younger players. And also we don't quite fit in with a lot of our peers because they're not gamers, so to speak. So I really appreciate the assistance. All right, and on to the video. Hey guys, tell you guys a story. I'm trying to get emotional. Senior year in high school, I saw the birth of my firstborn son. And, you know, for any of you who don't know, being a high school kid, being a teenager, and having a child is life-changing. I had a scholarship to go to Northwestern University. I was in various programs. I made decent grades. Well, I made well above decent grades. But had a baby, and those are ripped away from me. At the time, I was in a lot of like super Christian-y stuff, and it was determined that those activities and the fact that I had a child didn't quite fit the mold of what they were looking for in a candidate. So I was dropped out of those programs. Certain members of my church at the time decided that they would torpedo my chances of going to college. I mean, I still could have gone to a different college, but I had my heart set on going to Northwestern, and I really needed that scholarship to do so. And it was torpedoed. So with that said, that kind of made me bitter. It was like, oh, my life is over. So the evening that my oldest boy's mother went into labor, I was confused. I was scared. I felt lost. I didn't know. I hadn't really slept in several days because I was just thinking about all the things that had just happened. You know, I was upset with his mother, saying, you know, how could you do this to me? You know, just typical childish high school type mentality. So she's lying there, and, you know, we're talking, and I'm trying to hold it together because I understood, you know, though I was an asshole, I understood that, you know, it's not about me right now. She needs to get through this, because at the end of the day, you know, little dude didn't ask to be here. So I mashed my pride down like a man's supposed to. And I sat there and took it. And, you know, it didn't even occur to me that, you know, her life has changed now. You know, what was I thinking? But again, you know, young man, and high school. It was just, you know, me. There's a few complications. So they had to go do she had to do a C-section. And she was concerned because she didn't want any scars in her body. But, you know, but we're just like, look, you know, we got the baby's health. You're going to be fine. The scars will heal. So they start the C-section, and I'm holding her hand. So they get her prepped, and you know, the epidural, whatever. And they start the process. Now, mind you, she's not unconscious during this, so she's feeling the tucking and the tugging and the pulling, and she's like telling me she's feeling a lot of pressure. And being a guy, I'm like, oh, I can handle this. My dumb ass decides to peek around a little medical cloth. They have, the little cloth they put up, when they do surgery, to keep the germs. And I peek around there, and I see like bits and pieces of her over here on this table, and bits and pieces kind of flopped up over here. And I see this little sack thing inside of her stomach. And I'm just like, okay, I did not expect that. And I fucking fainted. I fainted, y'all, okay? So all I remember is I looked, I was like, oh, okay. And then next thing I know, I'm on the floor and there's a nurse on the ground. And I guess she put some smelling salt on my under my nose. And she's like rocking me and fattening me with a cold towel. I was like, how long I was out? She said, oh, you weren't out that long. The baby still hasn't been delivered. I was like, okay. Man, because that was never do that, because y'all not ready for what that looks like, yo. That ain't right. So so we go through all that and get her open. They bust the amniotic sac and pull my son out, and he's just beautiful. I mean, yeah, he's covered in goo, and it smells all weird, and he's sticky, and they have to put him in under the little heat lamp like he's French fries at McDonald's or some shit. But he's beautiful. That's my boy, and I fucking cried like a baby. He was crying, I was crying, his mom was crying, and they get him all cleaned up, and they put him in his arms. And he's just sitting there, and he looked up at me, looks up at her, looks up at me, and he just smiled. And that was everything. I knew right then and there, fuck everything that happened to me over the past year with losing my scholarship, losing all that. This is it right here. This is it right here. He grabbed my finger and looked up at me and smiled. It was a toothless smile. It's kind of like, but that was everything. Said I'm not gonna get emotional. So fast forward a couple of years. In between that time, his mother and I, we got married, and we separated, and it was crazy. We didn't quite get along. See, the thing is, I met his mother. And I never told my son this. I met his mother actually when I was like 9 years old. Didn't know her name. Didn't know who she was. And then again we met when I was 13. And at that time we became friends. She was older than me. And so I've known her since I was 13. Keep this in mind. And she and I were laying in bed one day, as married couples should, and we kind of looked at each other and just laughed for no particular reason. It just came to be one day that we just outgrew each other, and so we were just like, from that day, we just didn't sleep in the same bed. We didn't sleep together anymore. She would sleep in the bed, I would sleep on the couch, or I would sleep in the bed, she would sleep on the couch. And it wasn't that like the attraction was gone. It's just that, or the love was gone. It's just like, we don't want to do this anymore. This is, I guess we were kind of pressured into the relationship or into the marriage. We weren't quite ready for it. I was young, y'all. Jesus. Said I just got out of high school and we got married, and could you imagine? Oh, it's probably impossible now, but could you imagine graduating from high school and then getting a car, getting an apartment, paying bills, paying rent, paying insurance, buying milk, or Pampers, all that at 18 years old. Could you imagine? Especially today. Imagine doing that. But that's what it took. So, fast forward a few years. And, my son's 3 years old at this time. Now, mind you, I told you guys that I've been playing like games since, late 70s, early 80s. And so at this time, I was into a tabletop game called Battletech. And I'd play with my guys, she and myself and his mother knew we were separated. So he would come over to my house and have my guys over. And we're playing Battletech. We got the little tabletop figurines and stuff. And we're, you know how you use your paper and your mark damage and how much armor and how much ammo you guys have left. And my boy was just like fascinated. And so at 3 years old, I called myself trying to teach him. And I'm getting frustrated because he doesn't get the rules. He doesn't understand, skill roll and critical hit rolls. And I was like, no, you don't understand. And he's right there, you got this critical hit. And I'm stressing him the fuck out. Y'all, he's 3. He can't even read what's going on. He just knows that his dad is having fun doing this. So now he wants to do this. And I'm sitting here stressing him the fuck out. Fast forward a couple more years, and he's into Pokemon. And I'm playing Magic the Gathering. He's playing Pokemon. It's cool. I figure Pokemon's a kid's game. I play Magic. It's, older person's game. He never really got into Magic. I never got into Pokemon. Then one day, he picks up Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'll never forget. It was like my visitation, and I took him to the flea market, swap meet, and it's on the south side of town, in our hometown. And we go out there, like, boy, why are we going out here? So there's some Yu-Gi-Oh cards I wanted to get. I'm like, did your mom give you money? Because I'm like, I'm not spending money on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Are you fucking kidding me? Because he just, because he had in between time, he was just picking up games, and then I didn't think he was like, I didn't want to put money. I had put money into Magic because I was playing it on a regular basis, but I wasn't gonna like spend money on Yu-Gi-Oh cards because he's not gonna be. He's not. He's a kid. He's not gonna just stick with it. So we get there, and he's flipping through the books, the guy's books, and he finally finds the card. Ultra rare first edition legendary fisherman. He's like, that's the card I want. And I'm looking to read it. I'm like, okay, sure. And so I asked the guy how much it was, whatever, and I give him money for it. And he gets his card and his eyes fucking light up. And we get back to the house, he pulls out his deck, he pulls some cards out, puts some cards in, and he's like flipping the cards around and playing the cards. I'm just looking, I'm like, oh, cool. Then the Saturday comes, and I take him to the card shop, and he's playing, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching him, and like the smile on his face when he plops the legendary fisherman on the field, and the kid he's playing can't out it because legendary fisherman can't be attacked when you have Umi on the field, and it was outstanding. It's like I don't know, the look on the kid's face when he smiled. I'll never forget that day. So this happened a couple more times, me taking him to the card shop. And I'm like, you know what? I keep coming to this place and Magic is getting whack. It was around a time where like Dragon Storm, if you guys ever play Magic the Gathering, you get a dragon and you have a card. It wasn't a sorcery, it was an instant, and you copy the spell and you hit your opponent for a quick 15. Then you had the guys that could hit you for 5 right off the bat. So it was like a turn 2 OTK, turn 2 FTK or something like that, or FTK. It was really stupid. So I got sick of it. I was like, this is no fun anymore. My red Weenie Rush deck is no longer any good because this dragon shit, this dragon storm shit is too strong. So I picked up Yu-Gi-Oh. Asked for some help, got some cards, and it was rough learning the rules, but I finally got the rules down, and we started playing. And I think about this time, was it Labyrinth of Nightmare? Yeah, I think it was like Labyrinth of Nightmare. It just come out, and I'm looking at the cards. I'm like, what's this Kaiku thing? What's that stuff on his face? And it's, oh, and the dude like attacks and like starts pulling stuff out of my graveyard. I'm like, what are you doing? He turns the card around, flips it to me. He's like, oh my God, I need to get one of those. That's insane. I lost my light and darks. What the hell was going on? Now, mind you, I didn't have Black Luster Soldier because I didn't know that was a... No, wait, Black Luster Soldier wasn't out yet. It was, yeah, this is much later because I remember, because I hadn't seen Kaiku. Because before I started playing the card shop, you know, I was just playing with my son and his friends. And it was, I think it was right around the time when Black Luster Soldier was released. Then that's when we started playing. I guess that was a really bad time to start playing, like start trying to play in tournaments in Yu-Gi-Oh. Because yeah, that's what happened when he drops the Kaiku. And me and my son, we just had Chaos Sorcerers. We thought that card was broken. So it's a monster. It's a level 6 monster that you don't have to tribute for. Cool. And so yeah, he hits my graveyard. So I summon my Chaos Sorcerer. He said, no, you can't do that because Kaiku won't let you take stuff out of your graveyard. So he slides it to me again so I can read it again. And y'all, it was just much. I just knew I had to get one of those. And then he drops a Black Luster Soldier. I was like, what is that card? So it's a better version of that card. I'm like, what? So I'm going to get one of those. At the time, you know, to find out about cards, you had to go to Beckett. And I go on Beckett, and that bitch is like $45. I'm like, oh, I'm not paying that. I'm just going to use 3 Chaos Sorcerers, but I'm not paying that. Mirror Force was like $40, $60. And like all these cards I thought were absurd prices. Psh, look at today. I have a playset in the Dear Servants. Lightning Storms. That's neither here nor there. Fast forward a couple more years, Flaming Eternity is out. Now, mind you, we still don't have Black Luster Soldiers. And at this time, my son was doing really well at the game. For some reason, I couldn't, like I was doing well, but in that time, had more kids, so I hadn't quite figured out how to focus my hobby and the amount of kids. You know, by the time Flaming Eternity came out, I had 4 kids. So yeah, he had more siblings, and I was working all the time. And then I would play Yu-Gi-Oh on the weekends with my son at the card shop. So I didn't exactly keep up with the meta as well as I could. I didn't like really focus. I was working too much. And probably overall, not probably, I was a shitty father in terms of spending the time necessary. But I did the best I could with what I had. So I don't beat myself up too much, I have to remind myself of that. And it helps that my kids, they're all adults now, 29. My oldest boy is 29 now. And then the daughter's 27, that's 24, and my youngest boy, that's 22. You know, they've all assured me that, yeah, Dad, we know you did the best you could. So even though in the back of my mind, I feel like I was a shitty father a lot of the times, they acknowledge, and I'm grateful to them for that. I digress again. We're playing at the tournament, and my son was like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this tournament. I'm like, what you got? And I'm gonna I think I'm gonna make a thumbnail. I'm gonna make a thumbnail out of the card he used. So Flaming Eternity comes out, and people are playing Sacred Phoenix Chaos, Spoon deck. You know, you got the Great Hebrew Spy, you got your Scapegoat, you got your Hand of Nephthys, you know, your Tribute, bring that thing out. People are playing Horus. So my son's brilliant idea was Messenger of Peace, like Sakuretsu Armors, Bottomless Trap Holes, Smashing Grounds, and Misty Tomatoes, and Shadow Slayers. I was like, what? Right? Dude was wrecking people. And then he had his Triple Chaos Sorcerer. And it was so funny. So like they would set up, they would, he'd MST the back row, they'd chain Scapegoat. Like, cool. Summon Shadow Slayer, swing for 14. Like, what does that card do? So, oh yeah, attacks direct when all your monsters are in defense. They're like, oh, okay. Then he'd activate Messenger of Peace, and they draw. They would set their Spire, set their Dekoichi, swing for 14. Like, wait. I said, no, it doesn't matter. Your monster's in defense position. So they flip the card, draw, Dekoichi attack, Sakuretsu Armor. They set another red card, swing for 14. I'm like, oh my god, he was insane. The amount of damage he was putting in with that card was insane. And he ended up winning that tournament, and I was proud of my boy. I was really proud. Once again, I got to see that smile. For all you guys out there that have kids, that's what you live for, right? Dads? That smile. Because it makes you feel like you did it. I was talking in another video the other day about those flexes, the 3 Starlight Ecclesias, the triple, you know, that people do their deck profiles, and, you know, their first ed Ash Blossoms and their, you know, highest rarity extra decks. I don't know. That smile, even to this day. My oldest boy is 29 years old now. He's in the Air Force, serving overseas. He's been on multiple deployments. But when we FaceTime, that smile gets me every time. And all I can think about is that day when I held him and I was poking at him, and his little hand grabbed my finger and he looked up and smiled. You know, that smile at 29 and that smile at day 1 when he was just a couple of hours old. It's the same smile with more teeth and facial hair and a deeper voice than mine and much taller than me, but it's the same fucking smile. And I think that's the biggest flex. I really do. This video's long as shit. But yeah. That's really all I got to say about that. If you made it this far, leave a comment. #parenting. That'd mean a lot to me. It's ygodubk and I'm out.